This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 438 of the Dressage Radio Show, Western Edition, on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, Total Saddle Fit, and Horseware. In this episode, we will be chatting with legendary horseman Jack Henning and WDAA inaugural bronze medalist Nancy Conley. Jacques Below has a great training tip, and in our Around the Farm segment, Dr. Wendy Yang will talk to us about her ducks.
This is Dr. Wendy Yang from Sarasota, Florida.
And this is Tim Christensen from Mayaca City, Florida, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show. So, Wendy, I'm so glad you're able to join us today and to fill in for Karen. So, haven't talked to you in a while. How did you guys fare with the hurricane?
I know. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. It's exciting to be on the Dressage Show, the Western Edition. I love your show so much. I listen to it all the time. And we fared pretty well for the hurricane. We still haven't had our sticks picked up by the county, which I'm sure you're in that same boat. So trail riding down the road
common
is scary.
problem.
Yep. But yeah, we didn't lose many trees. Yeah, all the animals fared well. I think we here in Sarasota were spared. I know it hit you guys a little bit harder over there.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, we were right on the edge of the eye.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How was your barn? Your barn's okay?
The barns, yeah, everything was great. We just had a couple trees go down, and that was it. And they were pine trees, and they did zero damage. So we were very, very fortunate. Very fortunate. So
that's great.
So did you guys have a good summer? You and Kyle?
Oh, well, today I walked outside this morning to walk my dog, and I thought, oh, finally fall's here because it's been so hot.
Oh, it's been a scorcher. Yes, I thought the same thing.
And I bet people listening from other parts of the country don't understand, but I mean, even yesterday, my horses were completely sweaty just standing out in their pasture because it was about 90 degrees out.
Yeah, just to fill the listeners in, I watched our meteorologist said the other day that if they take the high and the low and average them out, our average right now is higher than what it was in June, July, and August down here in Florida. Gosh. So it's been a very warm October, but they said it's coming next week. The cool front. So
well, that's good.
So anything
we can get back
fun
to
and special? Did you guys do anything fun and special this summer?
We did a lot of paddle boarding.
Cool.
My horses are retired now, so I trail ride and do a little fox hunting, but pretty much they just hung around and ate, and I did some trail riding, and that's about it. How about you?
Good. Oh, we had, a great summer, and we just got back from our World Show, which was a couple weeks ago at the Western Dressage Association of America, their World Show in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
So it was a great show, a long trip, but we go out early a few days and spend a few days early out there at the Lazy E Arena, which is legendary and is great. And it was a great horse show. I think they had a good turnout. The numbers were good. The arena footing was a little deep this year, and I know that show management has been talking about it. So if anybody who's listening was out there had concerns, they are well aware of it, and they're addressing those issues. But other than that, it was an outstanding horse show. It was very well run. And exhibitors were there from all over the country, and once again, met a lot of great people. So,
great.
It's a great experience. So,
and did you ride out there? Were you showing?
I did do some showing out there.
So tell us how you did.
Well, we did very well. The girls did extremely well. Collectively as a group, I think we got 16 world and reserve world titles.
Oh, congratulations.
So it was a good show. Yeah, it was a good show. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. And great weather. We had 2 days of rain just before the show, and that was a little bit interesting because, we didn't have those Midwestern, the middle of the state or up north, all-day cool rains. I'm not used to them anymore. So that was kind of an eye-opener, but then it cleared up and it was beautiful for the horse show.
Oh, that's
so
good.
It was good. Yeah.
And a break from all our heat down here.
Yeah.
That's great. And do you have any exciting shows coming up this fall?
Let's see. We're getting ready to do our Sunshine Classic, which is the show that I sponsor and do on the end of the month. We do the All-Breed show on Saturday, and then we do our dressage show on Sunday, which has got traditional and Western, which I do with Karen. So that's coming up. And then we have the Florida Championship show is in like the second weekend of November, and that's at the Grand Oaks. So that's
the Grand Oaks. I love the Grand Oaks.
We call it a showcation. So
that's fun. Well, Tim, I have to tell you, the Sunshine Classic, everybody's been telling me I have to go to that show, the All-Breed show, because people love that you have all the different classes, like the in-hand classes and the pleasure classes. And
it's pretty fun. And we have a mini arena. Yep. And we also, we have the Kentucky Mountain Horse Association. We have approved classes for them. So we got a wide variety and tell them, yes. Yep. So it's a fun show. It's really grown into a nice deal. So we're pretty pleased with it.
Oh, that's
so. Great. And actually, going into our guest, each year we honor a horseman or horsewoman, and this year it's going to be Jack Henning as the honored horseman. And he's our guest that we'll be going to here very shortly. So.
That's a great person for that award.
And talking about Jack, we will be turning to him shortly. And at this point, why don't we go ahead and hear from Kentucky Performance Products, one of our sponsors, and we will get to Jack Henning.
The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Feeding your horse starch-laden grains can lead to colic, laminitis, and metabolic disease. Today, nutritionists are recommending the use of high-quality fat to provide healthy calories. Fat is an extraordinary energy source. It's readily utilized by the horse and contains more than 2 times the calories of starchy grains. Replacing grain with a high-quality fat supplement reduces a horse's risk of developing health problems. EquiJewel Stabilized Rice Bran is an excellent fat supplement. It contains a balanced calcium to phosphorus ratio and won't cause mineral imbalances when added to the diet. Its all-natural ingredients are high in healthy fat and fiber. And best of all, horses fueled by EquiJewel stay calmer and more focused on the job at hand. When you need to add healthy calories to your horse's diet, choose EquiJewel. To learn more, visit Kentucky Performance Products at kppusa.com.
And Jack, thank you so much for joining us today on the Western edition of Dressage Radio. We're glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. So
it's my pleasure.
Well, thank you. Jack, tell the listeners we're in Florida, and I think you live just southeast of the Tampa area, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And have you spent your whole life in Florida?
No, I've been here about 55 years. I was born and raised in Texas.
Okay, whereabouts?
In Austin, Texas.
Okay, Austin, Texas. Were you born into horses, or did you grow up with horses as a young boy?
Yes, I've had horses all my life. As long as I can remember, there's always been horses.
Okay. Was your family into horses?
Yes. My dad roped a little bit, and I had a couple of other older brothers that roped some, and then that's been my passion most of my life. And so I've been around horses all my life.
Yeah. And now you're into the Western dressage, and you've got quite a legend. And we'll just say Jack is, mid-80s.
I'm 83 years old.
That's 83 years old. And to our listening audience, Jack has been just such an inspiration because at 83, he still rides and trains and competes and is just a great rider with a great seat. And he's just a testimony, I think, to what the equine industry can do to us as individuals. So Jack, you started out with horses as a young kid, and you roped. And were you involved in any breeds or any different, any particular breeds? Quarter horses, Appaloosas?
Not at that time. Of course, that time there was more unregistered horses than there were registered horses, and you didn't even particularly pay attention to that in the rodeo business. And but I just got accidentally, kind of a fluky thing, got involved with the Appaloosa horses when I moved to Florida.
I have a question for Jack. This is Wendy. Do you still do the Appaloosas now?
I'm not riding any Appaloosa horses right now. That's just something I was involved in, and I'm really associated with Appaloosa horses more than anything else because I was involved in, for about over 40, 45 years. I was involved in, and I probably rode more Appaloosa horses during that period of time than anything else.
And
was associated one particular horse that was a great, great horse.
Yeah, tell us about that guy.
It was a horse called High Sign.
What was it? High Side?
High Sign, yes.
Oh, have fun. And was it a stallion, gelding, mare?
It was a stallion that I moved to Florida to ride his sire. Particularly, and then it just involved in getting him later, a number of years after that, and then had him I showed him for over 17 years.
And what years was this approximately?
Oh
60s,
gosh,
70s?
It was in the 70s, 60s
okay.
and 70s.
Okay. And what events did you do with them? With Have Fun?
Well, on him, we did everything. He was mainly known as a reiner. I won 3 different bronze on him in the Rein Horse Association, and but he was an outstanding calf roping horse and a working cow horse, and he was just one of those horses you could do any and everything. He was very, very good at all of those things.
And did he go on to be a sire?
Yes, I've rode a number of his. I know I rode one that won a bronze on, and I know that there was another one that won a bronze in the NRHA.
Cool. And so he was probably your pinnacle horse or the highlight horse of your career. And you said you showed Appaloosas for many, many years there. Did you, at that point, were you following the circuits? I know you said you won the NRHA bronzes. Did he get any accolades or any accomplishments in the Appaloosa Association as well?
Well, yes, because he won over all those years, because I showed him in 5 different events, is that he won like 70 national and reserve champion national titles in all those years.
Cool. And did they have their world shows then at the Appaloosas? I'm trying to think of when that would have started for them.
In fact, they started the world show in the Appaloosas before they did any other breeds, to tell you the truth. And it was like the first year that I rode his sire and won the world championship reining on him, and this had to have been like in 1964.
Okay. And then you showed him, and then any other horses, any other notable horses in the Appaloosa worlds that you showed, maybe in the 70s or 80s?
Well, I rode a lot of different ones, but of course the outstanding one was a son of his that we roped on and a reining, and I won the limited open reining at the World Championship at the reining at Oklahoma City during the fraternity. So he was the other signature horse, but he was very much like his sire.
Okay. So that was a big event. The NRHA fraternity is huge. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yes, it wasn't in the fraternity. It was in the limited open.
In the limited open, yeah.
Fraternity. Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah. But that's quite an event that's still huge today. So you did a lot of the working in cattle events. Do you ever do the pleasures or the trails or any of the other events, or primarily just the cattle?
Well, in those days when we were doing those, you take 50 years ago, there was very few people that specialized in anything. And if you was a horse trainer, you rode pleasure horses and you showed them in the trail classes and, and all those things. So I was involved in all of those for a number of years.
And is someone like you who has really seen the rise of the horses where they got so huge through the 70s, 80s, into the 90s, you've kind of seen it grow and then kind of change. Like you said, you talked about the specialization. Tell us about what are your thoughts on the growth of the horses and the quality of horses today versus the quality of horses, back when we started? Because I'm sure you rode them all. What's your opinion where we've evolved to today and the quality today versus 30, 40 years ago?
Oh, there's no different, no doubt that horses are they're bred better to do special. Not only riders have specialized, but horses are specialized, and you get horses and with their brains that they work on certain levels that some horses want to be pleasure horses and some horses want to be rope horses, and but we've kind of got away from the specialization. I mean, the all-around horse like we had in those days, but it was mainly because of just the riders got where they weren't specialized. They specialized, but horses, there's no doubt that we have all of our horses now are physically and mentally, and all of our events are more tuned into that than they were in those days. But then also in those days, look how the training methods of those great horses in those days would have been good today with the training methods and the things that we just know so much more about these days.
Yeah. Things that have definitely come a long ways. So as we look back over the careers, we always look at a lot of young people that get into it. Do you have any outstanding memories? I mean, a particular memory at a horse show or a world show, or just as something you want to share with the listeners that maybe things didn't go quite as you planned in the show arena. Anything else that you can think of that we might get a good chuckle out of, or that we can relate to? So when everybody thinks they have to go out and show and be perfect, that maybe you don't have to be in your 50 years of riding.
Well, those are the things that, there's no such thing as if the best rider and the best horse won every time, we would only have one horse show, because why would we have any more? Because it all plays the same way. So that's the great thing about it. It's just like any other sports. Look at sometimes how some underdog wins a football game or a basketball game or something. So if I just learned over the years that no matter what, if you just do your part and your horse does your part, and there are certain times and certain days that everything clicks and everything falls into place, and then other days that it doesn't. So, and showing horses is very humbling, because you certainly don't win every time. That's for sure.
That is true. Yep. You can win today and be humble tomorrow. So, Jack, tell us, as we get into in your career, how did you get involved in Western dressage? Well,
in a part that I've kind of watched the dressage on TV, because I have that shows quite a bit of that, and I just have always I've always kind of prided myself and thought about that. The better, when I found out long ago, the better broke horse you got, and you can different definitions of broke, but the better trained horse you have in all the basic things, you have so much more of a chance percentage-wise for that horse to do move into whatever you want him to do. And I don't care if you want to go to the roping or the pleasure or what. If the more that he has those very basic things done, your percentages of that horse being a really nice horse just multiply and just so much more and so that has always intrigued me as riding a really broke horse. And I was so fortunate in my life that I came up as a kid riding broke horses. They weren't any fancy horses in those days, but I can remember just as a little kid and growing up is that any horse that we had, where I wanted to go, I went. I didn't have to pull and jerk around and whip around and all those junky kind of things to get. And I was fortunate enough to have that basis of that type of a horse and that type of thinking. And I guess that carried on to everything else. But I just know that I have taken some reining horses, and they kind of fit the deal of a rope horse. And it was unbelievable how quickly those horses made rope horses, because they were broke and they knew how to stop and they knew how to do those things. And of course, a reining horse is probably, when we get down to it, maybe the most broke horse that we can possibly have, because of all the different things that horse has to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I've noticed that when I've seen reining horses come into the Western dressage, they catch on to it really quick.
Yeah,
and I've seen some really good ones. Yep.
Well, I remember the first world championship. In fact, it was the first world championship of the Western dressage. There was a horse there from Wyoming. A guy was showing. He was there mainly. I got to talk to him a little bit, but this reining horse was a reining horse. His wife was there showing some. That's the only one he showed. His wife was showing some other horses, and that horse was one of the big reining deals in the NRHA, which was in Katy, Texas. That horse was going later on. He was entered in 4 different classes, 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of the reining, and he had him there showing him, and that showed me there what a great thing for a reining horse if more of those guys would get interested in a little bit of our, not even particularly all that competitive, but just to go to schooling shows and take those reining horses and get them to do the things that we do in the Western dressage, which is all precise, and that's what the reining is all about. That those horses, it would make them better horses.
So this gentleman, are you saying he showed him at the first world show in the Western dressage?
Yes. It was
okay, cool. Okay, yep. So he showed him in his levels in the 4 tests. That is cool. So what are your plans, Jack, for the future?
Well, I mean, I don't. The word retire isn't in my vocabulary, but by the same token, we have to be realistic about some of these things. But that's what I've been so fortunate in, is that I was interested in those other things, and as age took care of certain things, then I was always moved into being able to move into something else. That was kind of that my signature thing was a calf roping. And then I got involved with some of the reining part of it. That was the next situation. And then I got into the team roping, and it just, and so I just was able to move into something else, and that I really liked. And there's nothing like it. I never get up in the mornings and hate to go to the barn. So that's one thing that I've been very fortunate in my life, that I've got to do something that I've had a passion for and I really enjoy doing.
And spent your whole life doing it. And we were talking with a friend about the Western dressage. So what do you think we're going to be doing? So the beauty thing about the Western dressage is that there is no time schedule, or the regular dressage as well, that the individual rider can enjoy it and do the different levels that they're comfort with and that their horse is comfortable with, and get their scores. And And I love the Western dressage, and I think it's just going to fulfill a niche for, like what you said, Jack, for people who are ready to switch gears and maybe go from the reining into something else, or the pleasures all around horses, or trail riding, or even the barrel racing, and just say they want to come in and just kind of go work on some precision and some good ground training programs for their horses. So as we're wrapping it up, to our listening audience and to the young people, you kind of alluded, earlier about, the forces that we have riding horses and stuff like that. But in closing, what would be words of wisdom that you'd like to pass on to us in your years of with the horses, of what you've learned?
Well, one thing, you don't live long enough to learn all these things, and nobody, if you don't keep learning and switching, because there are different levels of training, and somebody comes up with a better idea, and if you don't keep up with the times, you're not going to be successful, and that's for sure. And that's the thing that I've always been an observer of other people, and you can't learn this stuff by yourself. You can't. Impossible. One thing, you're going to ruin too many nice horses while you're trying to learn all these things, and yep. It's just a thing that you just have to have that passion for that horse, and it takes a lot of patience for yourself and your horses also.
I think that's probably really good words of wisdom right there, is the patience. In a hurry up world, we're dealing with a living animal that's want to teach us patience. But, I think, Jack, that in closing here, I want to just thank you, because I think that's brilliant. At 83 years of age, we never stop learning. And Jack, is there a Facebook? Do you have a Facebook page, a website, where people can follow you or find more information out about you?
Some of my friends or something, I think I'm on there somewhere, but I'm not into those kind of things. And I have the simplest phone that I can, I don't know how to text. I get some messages every once in a while, but I don't know. I just, those things, I got too many other things that I want to do other than that.
Yeah. For those in the listening audience, if you're here in the Sarasota area, Jack Henning is going to be for the Sunshine Classic, a show that I put on October 28th and 29th. Each year we have an honored horseman and a horsewoman or horsewoman, and this year our honoree is Jack. And if you're in the area, please stop in and say hi to Jack and sit and have a visit with him. So what we will do is we will figure out on the podcast here, Jack, we'll get your information. So if people want to give you a call, or if there's an old friend maybe who's listened and they want to touch base with you, we will try to make sure that we will get the information there where people can get in touch with you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much, Jack, for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, and happy trails.
In the world of horse racing and elite equestrian sports, it's all about how to prepare and repair. IceVibe is a truly portable and highly efficient circulation therapy system for your horse. Before activity, prepare to prevent damage by using the IceVibe's vibration pads. Repair after the event by using the unique combination of cold packs and vibration to minimize swelling and encourage blood flow. And because it's battery powered, IceVibe is truly portable, the essential and affordable tool to prepare and repair. IceVibe.
You can find out more details about IceVibe at ice-vibe.com or horseware.com, or ask your local tack shop or online supplier for more information about IceVibe circulation therapy from Horseware.
Well, hello, Nancy. I'm glad that you joined us, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking me.
Good.
So,
a little bit. Tell us a little bit. Let's get into so the listeners can get to know you a little bit and find out a little bit about your past, because like us or like myself, I'm with the Western Dressage. It's relatively new and relatively new for you. Did you have horses? Did you grow up with horses as a teenager, child?
I've had horses all my life. I don't know when I didn't have them, but I didn't.
Did your family? Were you in a family of horses?
Yes. But not a show family, just a farm family with horses and kids, and ignorant bliss is what I call it.
Yeah. Yeah, just how most of us grew up back then.
Right, and it was fun.
Yep. Trails and picnics and the whole 9 yards. So did you get into, did you have formal riding lessons, fly by the seat of your pants, ride bareback, fall off, get back on, yeehaw, and away we go, or how did it all work?
I didn't have any formal lessons until I was in my early 20s. Okay. And I rode and studied, and my mother always loved going to yard sales. They had them back then, rummage sales. And I would buy all the horse and rider books or whatever, people sell those magazines and read and study. And that's how I studied to learn to ride my backyard horses. Yeah. But then, as I got, when I got older and I was able to think about formal dressage lessons, because I always liked Western, but the dressage I felt like would help my Western. So I traded a horse for a year's worth of riding lessons. So I took the formal lessons during that time, and you're always, when you love horses, you're always studying and learning and going to clinics and whatever you can to pick up something. And I did the trail, the Western, the quarter horse scene for a little while. Then I had my own kids that would come for riding lessons, and we did the combined training stuff. But the Western I always really liked the best. So when they introduced the Western dressage, I thought, they did that for me. So, and I hear a lot of people say that. I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Yeah, no, you are. A lot of people do. How did you hear about the Western dressage? And you're in northern Georgia. Is that where you grew up?
Yes.
Where'd you grow up at? Okay.
Well, I lived in Conyers, Georgia till I was about 15, and then we moved to Villa-Rica, Georgia. So Georgia's always been my home. I've not lived anywhere else. And now I live in Calhoun, Georgia.
Okay.
So it's North Georgia.
Which is northern Georgia. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So you did the official year's worth of riding instructions. Was that with a dressage trainer, local, national?
Local. A local girl, but she was really pretty good. And now that I look back, now I look back that I'm more educated on that. She was really, really good. I didn't know how good she was at the time because, I didn't have anything to judge it by. But I just knew I wanted to do
And then
that.
How did you find out about Western dressage? How did you get into that?
Well, I guess I'm just always on the internet and stuff, and I guess I found out and they announced, people got to talking about on the internet, they're doing Western dressage and this, that, and other. And then some of the ladies in Georgia, a couple of ladies, decided to have an affiliate, and that's been a few years back. So Georgia's been an affiliate, I guess, for about 4 or 5 years now. So I got involved with them a little bit.
And then when did you start competitions?
My first competition was at a little show in Murphy, North Carolina. They had a Western dressage added to their show, and I took Calico, my horse Truly Unsurpassed, there for her first Western dressage to practice for the first World Show. So really the World Show was my official first Western dressage show in 2015. Okay. And then we've been stepping up from there. So we started there, accumulating our points, and then we went up, and now we're in second level. And this next year we're going to go to third level.
Cool. So Truly Unsurpassed is the mare that you started out with. Tell us a little bit about her, so the listeners know, because Truly Unsurpassed was the Western Dressage Association of America's very first bronze level earner.
Correct.
So tell us about her. Where did she come into your life, and how did you get her? And tell us a little bit about her background and her training, and just take us on a short version of your venture.
Okay, so Calico was my veterinarian's horse. She raised halter horses, and she'd show them as yearlings and weanlings. Weanlings and yearlings at halter at the Paint World Show, and I'd heard she had one for sale, and I just went to see what she had, and I just thought she was beautiful. So I bought her as a 3-year-old. She was a green, just broke to walk and trot. And I took her for, I didn't do I did training on her, but I gave lessons on her until about 2014. I decided, hey, I'm going to start doing Western dressage strictly with her.
Yes.
So that's when she started the program of just really working on it. But I already put dressage in her training. But when the Western dressage came out, it's like, we're going to do this time. We're not going to say,
how old is she now?
She's 11. So she's still young.
11. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. If you got years left with her.
Yeah, and the one thing about the Western dressage is that, everybody keeps their horses now. They don't sell them. Usually when I was growing up and I'm going around, everything's for sale. But everything's not for sale anymore. People's keeping their horses. And to me, this Western dressage gives them a goal. It gives me a goal. Because it ain't fun. You can't just go out there and ride and stuff. But if you've got a goal set, that gives you a reason to think, okay, I'll ride my horse today and I can do this and I can work on that. I can do this. And you have a goal. You set that goal and you can make another goal. And it goes on. It can go on for years. So actually, I've gotten truly unsurpassed bronze. I've gotten pretty fast. But I've been in the position to where I can show and do that and focused on it. And she's already earned her silver. So to get those, you move up the levels. So for her to get the bronze, we would have had to had 5 tests in level 2, and then to move up to the gold, you have to have 5 tests in level 3. So we have to at least show level 3, 5 tests with, 400 points or 500 points, 500 points, I think. So I show pretty much by myself at my level in my state and surrounding areas. So I'm almost in competition with myself. So that's a goal I set so I can keep showing without thinking, I'm going to a show, nobody's there. But yes, I'm there, and everybody else in the country is there because they're competing. Everybody in the country is competing also for the silver, the bronze, and all that, and trying to earn it. So it makes it fun.
We've talked about that before on past radio stations. Just to reiterate to the listeners is that how our point system works, whether it's USCF or WDAA, is your score. You get a score, and then that score is converted to points. So there could be just 1, like Nancy said in her class, or there could be 50, but your score is still going to convert to points. So that's one of the beauty about the whole thing.
If you're the only one at that show, your score counts towards you and your horse and your progression. It doesn't matter. And a lot of what I've noticed, a lot of people, they want to know how to do this. Oh, how do you do that? Well, you get in there, you read your rule book, and you study it. I mean, it's no big deal. Everything's right there on the internet. Everybody's on the internet now. They just don't want to take the time to teach yourself what they need to do. And I wished I could tell everyone how to do it and make it easy for them, but it's right there in front of them. It tells you what you need to do.
And there's a lot of clinics coming up. Yeah.
Right. You get your horse a number, and go from there. But it gives you a goal.
And I thought the awards, let's give a little plug here to WDAA for their awards, because I know it's a new association, and you submit your scores, and there's a fee for it, so we do pay to have our scores tabulated. And that's what happens when you have a young association. But I thought the awards were tremendous. What did you think?
I thought the awards were really nice. They tried to include everybody they can include. They gave nice awards to a lot of horses and teams. And
if I'm not correct, I think the first level is the Register of Merit, and that earns you a plaque. Every level you get a plaque, and I think the second level is the Award of Excellence. You get a beautiful halter that go with that, and then
I think they gave a cooler too, didn't they, with the excellence?
Yep, that was the level of achievement, or the
level of achievement.
The third level.
Yes, level of achievement, and then it's the bronze and silver and gold.
Yeah.
And then
so
the
I
next
thought that
level,
was great.
Yeah, it was real nice. They do a good job. You do have to spend that money to get your points turned in, but you've got somebody on the other end of that money and those points that's doing a job that a volunteer is not going to do. So you're going to have to pay somebody to do that job for everybody to have fun. You can't.
It's a lifetime tracking for the horse, too,
right?
So
yes, if I were to sell my horse, her number goes with her and her points go with her.
Right. Cool. So, who else in your family rides? Let's kind of get a little update there.
Okay. Okay. So in 2015, when I went to the World Show, when I went in 15. Randy and I hadn't been married long. We're newlyweds, kind of older newlyweds.
Okay.
So I said, I'm going to teach you how to call my test because your voice is so good. He said, I don't know how to. So I'd sit him down and he'd practice calling my test and, got the rhythm. And so he calls tests really well now. And but at that show, people tried to talk me out of letting him call. I said, no. I said, we're in this together. He's going to call my test, and if I mess up, it ain't gonna be his fault. So, anyways, on our way home from the World Show, he said, I want you to find me a horse, and I'm gonna do that. And I said, okay. So we found him a horse that was local, and Texas barcode. He rode him a little bit, but he was a little bit high strung. But he learned how to ride on that horse. He never rode in his life until we bought the horse.
Oh my God! That's great.
Yeah, in February of. Not this February, but the last February. So he's not even been riding 2 years yet. No. And he's already gotten points on Texas barcode, but Texas was a little high strung for him at the show. So we finally, we sold Tex. We hate it. We love that horse, but he was too much for Randy to, he needed something to take care of him a little better and something he could learn how to ride better on. So we sold him to a trail family because that horse liked trail. So Randy's got a new horse, and he'll be showing it for the first time Saturday at Nanette's Show Your Horse LLC show in Tri-State in Tennessee.
Cool. And I believe that's going to be like your first USEF rated show up there, isn't it?
Yes.
In that area?
Good. Up there, yes. And she's had a hard time getting people to come because it's so new. But I just wish the word would get out so, she could continue to do this for us.
I talked to her the other day. I think she said it's going to be okay. Well, good. You're going to have to kind of give a little update on how Randy does.
Yeah. So he's taking his horse. He's a lot quieter. So we're taking to see if he's going to stay quiet at the horse show. I believe he will. So we're excited about that. So I'll let you know how
you said earlier that you were helping kids and stuff like that. Do you give lessons? What do you do for,
well,
can people come give lessons, or what do you do?
I give a few lessons to people that really want to learn, and I like to keep it to the Western dressage now. I used to do all of these other things, but if you want to do the Western dressage, I give people Western dressage lessons if they want it and they're serious. But if they're not, me and Randy's just having us a good time.
Yeah,
we're just kind of having our time.
Yeah.
But
well, that's awesome. And I believe in recapping, you and Randy have children. Did I think was one at Yellowstone this summer? A Ranger?
Yeah. He's back here now. He's back in Georgia now.
Okay.
So, but
so cool.
I have 2 boys, and Randy has 5 kids, but they're all grown. So it's just him and I get to be selfish with each other.
Okay. Well, that's good. So what are your future plans?
With the WDAA?
Yeah, just in general, riding. It sounds like Randy's going to start showing, and you're going to be working with Truly.
Okay, so Calico. Okay, so Truly Unsurpassed has earned her silver now, because she'd already previously earned her bronze before we got to the World Show, so she was already accumulating points toward her silver. So we're accumulating points for our gold, but I'll have to go up. I'll have to go to level 3. I haven't shown level 3 yet, so that's going to be a challenge for me next year. And also, last I looked, she was in second place for the USEF Horse of the Year. I don't know if we'll make that or not because we don't go to enough shows. But I'm excited about that because sometimes they'll send you a little paper and they'll tell you that's happening and you didn't even know it. So that makes it fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. But our goal is to try to reach our goal before next year's World Show.
I was just going to say, if do you have a website, or if people wanted to reach you, listeners wanted to reach you, how would they go about doing that?
Oh, if they wanted to reach me and ask me any questions or what they need to do for Western Dressage, or if they wanted to get involved, they can find me on Facebook, and I'll give you an email if they'd like to email me.
Go ahead and give us an email.
It's balancedrade@bellsouth.net. And I'll be glad to answer any questions or help anybody that needs to know anything or how to get their horse, his number for his WDAA number, lifetime number, how to get started and getting their points.
Folks, you can send Nancy an email or track her down on Facebook at Nancy Conley in Northern Georgia.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just I'll be glad to help anybody that needs anything answered or any questions about a rule. But the main thing, read the rules. They're right there. They're easy to read, And then if you got any questions, then get them answered.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Hi, thanks for having me back on. So this month I wanted to focus on a rider-specific exercise rather than the previous months. We've been really working on getting our horses moving better. So I wanted to suggest that riders work over the next month on exercise number 43 from my book, 101 Western Dressage Exercises. And this is what I call the 4x4x4. And it's not common, I would say, for Western riders to do a 2-point position, which this exercise calls for. But I always tell students, just bear with it, even though it might feel a little funny in the beginning, because it is incredibly valuable for rooting out rider asymmetries and also just showing us where we may be getting a little misaligned, a little loose, a little too sloppy in our bodies. So what you want to do is begin in a working jog, sitting, and just get yourself organized, find your contact, get a good rhythm established. And then you're going to go immediately into 4 strides of posting jog. And I'm counting each stride is each time you come up out of the saddle is a count of 1. So 4 strides posting, and then immediately hold yourself up into a 2-point or a half seat position so your butt is hovering above the saddle and your heel is under your hip, and you're in that half seat position for 4 strides. Then you go immediately back sitting the jog for 4 strides, posting 4 strides, and 2-point for 4 strides. And you want to do that ideally without interfering with the horse's rhythm. He should stay just like a metronome. You want to be able to make those transitions smoothly so that the horse isn't lurching his neck up or down to catch his balance. And you want to hold a nice steady line and not wavering around with the horse underneath you. This exercise, as I said, it really helps riders identify where they have some crookedness in their body, which leg of theirs might be stronger than the other, and it just really helps find balance. I like to do it real quick, 5 minutes in the beginning of a session. Sometimes it's just a great way to get started. So experiment with this, have fun, and let's all focus on ourselves for this next month so we can be better for the horse.
And thanks to Total Saddle Fit for bringing us our tip again this week. The shoulder relief cinch actually changes the position and angle of the billets to prevent the saddle tree from interfering with the shoulder. The center of the cinch is set forward to sit in the horse's natural girth groove, while the sides of the cinch are cut back to meet the latigos 2 inches behind where the horse's natural girth groove lies. This brings the latigos from angling forward to become perpendicular to the ground, which reduces the saddle's tendency to be pulled forward into the shoulders. With horses that have Shoulder interference without angled latigos. It simply moves the latigos back to keep the saddle away from the shoulder's range of motion. The secondary benefit to this shape is the cutback of the elbows. This gives more room for elbow movement as well and prevents galls in the elbow area. Go to TotalSaddleFit.com to find out more. Well, and Wendy, as we talked earlier this week, you are going to be our guest on our little segment here called Around the Farm. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Good. This is our little short fun blurb just around the farm with Wendy Yang and her partner Kyle. Tell us about your farm, Wendy.
Well, I live in, it's like a farmette because we only have 5 acres, but I live in a neighborhood that's very horsey and we have miles and miles of trails and live next to a state park. So actually it's such a nice change because I used to have, some larger farms, like, you know how all horse people, they want a bigger and bigger farm, but then you realize like there's a lot of work and I did much less riding the bigger the farm I had. So it's really nice having just a little 5-acre place. And I just have 5 acres to take care of, but I have all access to all this riding. And if I need a riding arena, I just go to Karen's house.
You go to Karen's, you're right around the corner. Now you actually do a lot of driving. So do you drive in the neighborhood, around the neighborhood?
Yeah. My neighborhood has about 17 miles of roads and they're paved roads with lots of grass on the side. And it's great driving here. It's a dead end subdivision. So there's not a lot of traffic through here and all the people always slow down for us. So it's fun to drive here.
And how many horses do you have?
Well, I have 4 horses now. I have 2 of my Welsh Arab crosses that were in my 4-in-hand, and they're 18. Well, they're coming 18, and they're pretty much retired, but I still ride them. I trail ride them. And then I bought, this is like a total horsey thing to do. I found their nephew online that a friend of mine had bred, and it had changed hands. He was just a baby. He was like a 2-year-old, and I saw his ad online, and I bought this other one.
And you found him
online.
Good.
I didn't even look at him. And so that's my young guy who's 9 now. And then I actually have a mare that I bred. She's an Irish Draft sport horse. Her owners decided it was time for her to retire from being a broodmare, and they sent her back home to us. So I trail ride her too.
Oh, cool. So as with all farms, do you have other animals?
I do.
What else do you
have? Problem now. I keep collecting chickens and ducks and geese. And I have this little, I tried to incubate some duck eggs, and unfortunately only one hatched. But on a good note about that, this one little duck is like a super spoiled duck that I just like carried around everywhere when she was a baby. And her name's Chrissy. And
Chrissy the duck.
Chrissy the duck. And Chrissy has a big following on Facebook, and she's super cute.
I was thinking about this. I thought we've really got to get Wendy in here because how many people really have a duck named Chrissy the pet duck? So you have the ducks and the chickens and the horses, dogs, anything else?
I have one Jack Russell who I have to keep on a leash because she's a chicken killer. So if she gets out, that's it. I'll be down to just the dog.
She's a chicken killer. And Wendy is also a veterinarian, and you do some holistic things. And your partner Kyle is a chiropractor. Tell us real quickly in a couple sentences about your practice, what you guys do, and how long you've been together.
Well, we've been together, I don't know, like years and years. And we have a practice that is a mobile practice. We do horses and dogs and cats and sometimes potbelly pigs. But our practice focuses on acupuncture and chiropractic adjustments, wellness care. And of course, my first love is the sport horses, but we also do a lot of dogs, a lot of agility dogs, and right here in Sarasota.
Good. A couple wrap-up questions. And what is your favorite beverage as you go around the farm?
My
what
favorite
can people
beverage.
Find you in your hand?
Well,
your favorite beverage.
My favorite beverage, I think, has to be red wine. But
red wine.
I think I'm trying something a little different for Halloween. I'm going to learn how to make Bloody Marys.
Oh, cool. Okay. Hey, and what animal would you never have on your farm? What animal would you never have on your farm?
I would never have cats. Because
You'd never have cats.
I used to have cats. At one point, I had like 10 cats. But
okay.
I can't stand the smell of cat pee on my stuff. As I've gotten older, I've just said I can't do it. No cats. Plus, the cats would eat my chickens.
Yeah, that's true. So, and then in closing, a wrap-up question. Here it is. If Kyle was a farm animal, what would he be?
Oh, my gosh. That's hard to say. If Kyle was a farm animal, okay, minus the peeing on everything, he would be a cat.
Okay. He'd be a cat.
He's very quiet and he's very, just so, and he's athletic and he's fun and, he'd be a cat, but he wouldn't be peeing on the hay bales.
There you go. So if people, listeners, because you also do the driving show with the Horse Radio Network, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
If listeners, how could our listeners connect?
We have our business site is on Facebook, and it's 5 Elements for Animals. You can also find me on Facebook with my name, Wendy Ying. There's not many of us. I think there's one singer in China that's Wendy Ying. And also you can look at our site, which is the letters DR, WendyYing.com.
Okay, sounds good. Wendy, thank you so much for having our segment with Around the Farm. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for giving me the chance to talk about my Chrissy. Well, that about wraps it up, Tim. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on the website at dressageradio.com.
Like us on Facebook. Just search for Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is www.trainingforlife.com, and that is training and for is FOUR.
Thanks, sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products, Ice Vibe by Horseware, and Total Saddle Fit. And don't forget to check out the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
And remember, folks, enjoy your ride, and it's all about the journey. Thank you.